that down. And back again. So I originally did this stream this morning at my regular time, and unfortunately, I came across an issue with Substance 3D Sampler. And that issue is interesting. So I'm using two different monitors here. I've got my primary and my secondary on macOS. And apparently, if you are displaying Substance 3D Sampler on a secondary monitor, not the primary monitor, it goofs a bunch of stuff up in terms of how it displays your work. So anybody who's wondering, that's what happened. So I looked it up in the Adobe community forums, and yeah, that problem was described and it was answered. The solution being to only use it on your primary monitor or switch your primary to the one you want to use it at. So good to know. But yes, let's do this once again because we'll be able to do it nicely this time. So as I mentioned last time, but you know, probably most people who are seeing this didn't see that because it's at a totally different time. I've got a couple of different things here. So some images that I took. Here is a wall, very textured. I've got some flooring and some tile. So I'm gonna make a texture out of this, a material using Substance 3D Sampler. It's you know, the Substance stuff, 3D stuff are things that I've been doing a lot with lately, just 3D in general. So Sampler is something that I haven't used a whole ton. I use Stager a lot, but Sampler is kind of new. So let's go ahead and create new. And over here we can set everything up. So if we go into our viewer settings, we've got these parameters here. And one of those things is the environment. So we can switch out the environment, kind of similar to, you know, what you would see with Substance 3D Stager, right? You've got sort of like a background and yeah, you can do this sort of thing, right? So it gives you that look. Now, if you don't want to see the environment itself, you can always toggle it off. But I think it's kind of interesting to see these objects. This one's kind of neat because it's in a field. It's like it's outside, you know? And as you can see, it's properly centered. With my issue earlier, when I tried to stream this before, this object was always right here and you can only see part of it. And that's because of that primary display issue that I mentioned at the beginning. So another thing we've got here, if I look, there we go. So we can change what's being actually displayed. So lots of different shapes and things. You can even go into like t-shirts, stuff like that. So what I want to do, I think I'll start with just a general sphere. And what we need to do, Sampler tells you right here to start, drag and drop images or materials, or click here to browse. So I'm going to grab that tiled image, the image of a tile, drop it in there. And image to material, you can say AI powered or B2M. AI powered is the default, so I'm going to leave it at that. And let's go ahead and import. So this sometimes gets a little hung up, I've noticed. Oh, hello, Dana. How are you? Hope you're well. And anybody, feel free to jump into the chat. I do keep an eye on the chat during these streams. And this will probably be a pretty quick stream, like 30 minutes or so. But yeah, so what's happening is image to material, AI powered. It's created a base material for us here. And here is the actual image, and then it's generating a material from that image. Like I mentioned, sometimes this gets kind of stuck for whatever reason, and I've got to like mess with it a little bit. So we'll see if it pops up or not. It sometimes takes a little bit of time. So while we're waiting for this to finish processing, yeah, let me know in the chat. Have you used sampler before? Substance 3D sampler? And if you have, what kind of stuff do you do with it? And we can't get to any of this stuff right now because it's still processing. Sometimes if I click reload here or reset all the settings, kind of kicks things off, but I'm not sure why that happens. It's a mystery in terms of what's up with. There we go. So it just kicked in when I was resizing this. Yeah. So cool. So what do we have here, right? We've got a couple different things going on. We've got our sphere that now contains, right? It presents the material as brought in. And the material's based off of this photograph. So the photograph, of course, is big, but when you bring it in and it creates a material out of it, it crops it to a square. So we can change that, right? We can use the cropping tool here, perspective transform, and all these other things to figure this out. Every time you use one of these, what it's going to do is create new layers. Layers are really important when it comes to sampler. So if I go ahead to add a layer, you can see there's a bunch of different layers here. Lots and lots of layers. What I want to do is find a layer effect, a filter that tiles. Because right now you can see there are seams, right? Oops, there we go. Make that bigger. There are seams in here. And we don't want seams. We want it to be a material that's placed really nice on everything. So what I'm going to do is add a layer. Again, I'll search for tile. And we've got the make it tile filter. Notice all I did is put that filter on there and check it out, right? It's gone ahead and it's made it really nice for me. So there's other stuff we can do here too. You can imagine adding another layer. There are so many different things. We can add additional texture to this stuff. So we can add cracks and things of that nature. Dirt. I've never tried dirt. Ugh. Yeah, so there's some dirt. We've got some presets here. Dirt heavy. Oh, look at that. So it's added dirt to my texture, and that's represented further in the material itself. Let's see here. Both. Well, that didn't really do anything, did it? So dirt roughness. Change that. The quantity of dirt. Let's take our dirt down a little bit. So we got like a little bit of dirt here. We can bring it up and cover the thing with dirt. We've got volume of dirt. That doesn't really seem to be doing much of anything. I figured that would pile the dirt up a little more. Again, very much experimental with some of this stuff, right? And what else do we want to put in here? Well, let's check out dirt some more. Yeah, there's not anything I want to change. That's fine. Now, anything that we put in here in layers. Hello, Gareth. How are you today? This isn't my normal time. You may notice my stream this morning sampler had an issue, so I had to postpone. Hello, Umacorn? Is that how you say your name? Welcome. Hope everybody's doing well today. So yeah, we brought in this this image, converted it to a material, AI-powered material, and now we're making adjustments to it. So I'm gonna click on the eyeball here to hide. Oops, not that layer. Hide the dirt layer, because I don't want the dirt on there, I don't think. Well, I don't know. Let's just put a little bit of dirt. There we go. Dirt soft. That's pretty nice. Another thing I'm going to... Oh, I did it right. That's awesome. Thank you for letting me know. Yeah. It's... Pronouncing people's names is always something I try to do right, but there's only so much stuff you can do, you know? I want to colorize this a bit. I want to add some color to it. So, let's see. Colorize. Perfect. Simulcast. Oh, Adobe Live is now simulcasting my live stream. Oh, look at that. I didn't even notice that until you told me. So thank you for letting me know that as well. That's awesome. Because whenever Adobe Live simulcasts my little stream, you know, I certainly do get a lot more people coming in. So welcome everyone. All right, let's colorize. So initially when you put in a colorize filter, you've got a number of things. Of course, the most important thing is the actual color you're going to use. So I'm going to click this color chip, and then it summons our color picker, and then I can actually colorize this guy. I don't know what color I want. I can make it blue. It's kind of fun. Something earthy, right? It looks earthy. The tile that I actually took a photograph of to create this material is very light, right? That looks pretty good. Definitely earthy. So yeah, we got our colorize on, we got dirt on, make it tile. So yeah, it's kind of cool. You know, I spent a while like sort of avoiding a lot of the Substance 3D apps just because they were such an unknown to me. But as you can see, like if you've never used any of this stuff, like a lot of these concepts are kind of the same as they are in the Adobe Creative Cloud proper. So things like layers, right? We've got our layers panel here and our different layers. Layers, of course, work differently. You're adding filters, materials, and so forth. Yeah, like if we look here, like there's the original image that I brought in and that was converted to a material through AI. I used image to material, AI powered to do that. So let's switch this back to material outputs. And yeah, that's what we've got right here. Pretty fun. And you know, after this is done, I'll share this this particular material on my Behance as an asset so that people can use it. Wish I had another 30-day free trial. Yeah. If you are in education, higher education, let me look it up here. You can actually get this for free. I'm gonna grab the link because it's good, right? To grab the link and share with everyone. If I can actually find, there we go. So yeah, substance3d.adobe.com/education. And what that brings you to is this page right here. And yeah, you create your Adobe account with your education email address and right, verify, and then you get to use it. Another thing that I'll mention too, since I'm sharing links, is this link here. So I stream as part of a group of Adobe Education leaders. So on behalf of Adobe Education. And if you look down here, we do have an events calendar. And as you can see, my normal live stream is Tuesdays in the morning. But again, Sampler was being very strange, so I'm streaming now instead. I didn't want to abandon it because I wanted to do this idea for a while. I wasn't able to do it last week because of other things that were going on. So this week, making sure it happens, right? So let's see, what are some other things that we could do here? Oh, I know something I want to do. So I'm going to add a layer, and we can add in sort of like, and you can kind of see this right now. Before I do this, let's look and see what we've got in our just like base generated material right here. So viewer settings, shader settings, channel settings. I think it's under shader that I'm looking for. And you gotta be careful when you're scrolling through there that you don't enlarge your, oh my gosh. It's very finicky. There we go, that's better. So if we look in here, we've got different parameters, and we've got this height scale and height level. So as I increase this, watch the object. You can see that it's increasing the height of all of the different pieces that are being interpreted as higher than others. And this is a very extreme case. It looks very much like fur. That we don't want to do that. But yeah, I wanted to show that quickly before we go in here and add another layer. So types of layers, we can do like stone and brick and things like that to give it some texture. So right here, stone wall. If I add that to it, you can see that it's using my source material, right? But it's adding additional things to it. And if we look down in our layer properties for stone wall, we can see that there are a number of presets for things like rubble, for irregular rubble. That's actually pretty neat. Irregular rubble, pavement, irregular pavement. And this pavement is kind of like cobblestones, right? I think I'm going to choose irregular rubble. We can increase the amount of stones, decrease them. So I'm just going to play with these until something that looks interesting to me. Stone flatten amount. Oh, interesting. Okay. Mortar thickness, mortar color. So I love playing with this stuff because you're able to go in. Look at that. I could make it like straight up black if I wanted to, right? That's pretty good. Grime color. So you can see the grime here. And this is what's nice, right? If I go in here to this little icon and I click on this, I can look at only 3D. It just shows it to me in 3D completely, right? Or I can just focus on, of course, my 2D. Or have this sort of split screen, which is fun as well. And this can be moved back and forth pretty nicely. So let's see here. Thickness. Grime amount is 0 right now. Ooh. Let's add in quite a bit of grime. Let's change the grime color though. Let's do something kind of interesting. Let's make it like a... I don't know if I'm going to keep this, but it's fun to play. Maybe yellow, right? It was kind of yellow when we started, but yeah, just give it like a little yellow tint or golden tint. Kind of interesting. A bit more orange, perhaps, right? So the more layers that I put on here, right, the more tweaks we can do to our material. Very, very fun. Look at that. So I created that from a tile photograph in my home. Again, for those who's joining, this is my, layer inputs, but of course I've got the colorization on there. Now, any of this stuff we can toggle on and off. So, right, this is my AI-powered image. This is what it looked like at first. We got these seams here. Doesn't look all that great. Again, tile from my house. I took this photograph with my iPhone. Then I chose to add some layer filters like make it tile. And now we've got it tiling nicely. I added some dirt. I colorized it. And then I added stone wall as a filter and tweaked the grout and so forth. Now, of course, if we go in here again to our shader settings and change, let's move that over there again. And if we change our height scale, right, you can see how strange things get. Look at that. It's so interesting to me. It looks so gnarly. But let's put it down a little bit. Maybe something like that. I like to have a little bit of that in there, you know? That looks pretty good. Cool. Yeah, it's funny. So, unfortunately, like on my stream this morning, the one where Sampler was giving me trouble, uh, Chris Georginas came onto the stream, and shout out to Chris. I'm sorry, didn't work out this morning, but Chris did a Adobe Live event yesterday, all about Adobe Animate. So if you're interested in Animate, and he used Firefly, so the new AI stuff in Firefly, to produce flat content, brought it into Photoshop, broke it apart into layers, brought that into Animate, and animated it, which it was a really nice stream, and the replay is live. So I'm gonna try to find it here so I can show everyone, because I definitely want to share it. Animate is one of those tools in Creative Cloud that you know, is something that's not talked about a whole lot, right? It isn't talked about a lot. Let's see if I can find Adobe Live. There it is. So I'm going to share this with everyone because I want more people to know about Adobe Animate, right? And here is the link to that for those in the chat. Definitely check out Chris's work. So Chris has written books on Animate. He's spoken at Adobe Max on Animate. And yeah. So you can see he's doing some neat stuff inside of here, right? So check it out, Animate. Anyway, let's see what other options we got here. We got our metadata, physical size, exposed parameters, what we've got already. Oh, right. Okay. Metadata. Oh, yeah, so I haven't named this material. I should probably do that. Gosh, what should I call this? Like red, blood red stone. That's pretty cool. Description. Description is blood red stone. Author is me, Joseph Lebrecq. Got the creation date on there. Cool. That's probably all I need for that. And if we want to share, I can send it straight to Stager, or I can export it as a material. And I think it exports as an SBAR. Let's have a look. Yep. There you go. SB, I called it an SBAR. It's an SBSAR. So Substance 3D asset file. And then we can go ahead and export. I'm not going to export it just yet, though. But yeah, there we go. Just a quick rundown of Substance 3D Sampler and just how to create a really unique texture very quickly from a photograph. Very creative, very cool. And yeah, you can use this thing inside of Stager or anything else that's compatible with an SBAR. Oh, I don't want to see shader. I want to see viewer settings. So before we go, let's check out how it looks with some additional stuff. So there's our rounded cylinder. Pretty cool. Cloth. That looks disgusting. Right? Actually, it looks like a little ghost right there. It's kind of cute. And t-shirt. Cool. All right, everyone. Well, I hope this was interesting. I actually have to jet because I've got other things I got to do. But I'm glad I was able to get this done. And again, I'm going to share this afterwards on my Behance. So thanks, everyone. And I will see you all next week at this time. Well, not this time. Next week at my regular time. Cool. Have a nice week, everyone.